Hi everyone, this is Vidya, and I want to start off by asking everyone a question. How many of you have had bad experience with menstruation? And I'm sure a lot of us, thank you for raising your hands, I'm sure a lot of us have had negative experiences with menstruation as an inconvenient experience. A lot of us have had unexpected period, and we have to randomly ask a stranger, hi, do you have a spare pad by any chance? And that's the reality for a lot of us, that periods are inconvenient. But how many of us are thinking about the other aspects that come along with menstruation? When I ask about menstruation, what comes to mind? Most importantly, who comes to mind? Because we often talk about cisgender women when we talk about periods. Cisgender women are women who are assigned as female at birth and identify as women as well. And that's what we often talk about. We talk about women as if period is just a women's issue, but it's not. We have to consider the other menstruators that are also involved when we talk about period and period poverty. For example, we have trans menstruators, men with periods. And then we have gender fluid menstruators who don't fit in the male and female binary. And it's important that we include these voices, because if we don't even recognize that they exist, how can we address or even identify that period poverty is a possibility in Hong Kong? When we think about period poverty, we think, oh, that probably happens in poor countries. Why would it happen in Hong Kong? But it does. Period poverty is real, and it does exist in Hong Kong. And the reason why we don't think about it enough is because we're constantly narrowing our focus into cisgender, upper-class women's experiences with menstruation. My first experience with period poverty was when I was unable to afford to pay for a gynecologist appointment. It cost me around 1,000 Hong Kong dollar just for a simple medication and a simple checkup for a menstrual health issue that I had. And that was the first and the last time I ever went to see a doctor because of how expensive it was. We think that menstrual health care is a right that everyone should be able to afford, but that's not true. It is a huge privilege in Hong Kong to be able to even go to a doctor for a menstrual health checkup. And that's the reality of a menstruator from an economically marginalized class like myself. And I do have menstrual privilege in the sense that I am a cisgender woman. I remember having a conversation with a gender fluid menstruator. And they told me how they went to a male washroom to change their pad. And they had to secretly and discreetly open a packet of pad, which can be quite noisy if it's not a noisy environment. And then squishing that used bloody pad in their palm, running out of the male washroom, and throwing it in the dustbin outside of the washroom, because men would be horrified to find a bloody pad in their toilet dustbin. Another experience that they talked to me about was going to Park and Shop. Now, if you go to Park and Shop or Welcome, there's going to be a section that says feminine hygiene. And when you walk into that aisle, you will see period products that are filled with pink colored and floral patterned packets. And when you head to that aisle, it's humiliating if you're gender fluid or trans menstruator, because you have to pick up a pink colored pad and then line up for it. And that's a reality, that menstruation is a humiliating experience for a lot of menstruators that we don't often talk about. Another aspect of period poverty is the experience of incarcerated menstruators. There was a case back in 2017 reported by Varsity Hong Kong. And they talked about how a couple of menstruators had to share period products in prison facilities because they were not given enough. And when they got caught sharing these products, their sentence got longer. Let that sink in. They were punished for sharing period products. And that's a reality. It's not just about having access to products when you need them and when you have your period unexpectedly in toilets, but it's really about being able to get period products when you want to and not ask a prison staff, I need a period product, or not having to share with your inmates because you have your period. These are the realities of period poverty that we don't talk about because we think that menstruation is just an upper class cisgender woman's experience, but it's not. It's not a feminine experience, and it can't be generalized. It can't be seen as a homogeneous experience that affects everyone in the same way, because menstruation is a diverse experience in itself, and it has to be seen through an intersectional lens. This is what I do with my organization, Ama Kokoseli. We look at gender issues through an intersectional lens that addresses the different social identities that create a different impact on some. Intersectionality is a big word, and it's coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. It basically means that there are different social identities, such as race, class, gender identity, that work simultaneously to create multiple vectors of oppression. Someone from an economically marginalized class will have a different experience with menstruation than someone who's from an upper class, or from different gender identities. So these are the issues that we have to look at, and how menstruation can cause disproportionate effect on some more than others because of the gender identity that comes with it. It's crucial that we include these voices and center them, especially those who are at the margins. It's important that we discuss the voices of marginalized menstruators because their voices need to be heard the loudest. Thank you.